Warning. The opinions shared on this show are those of free-thinking individuals who, without payment or coercion, chose to be here and share those opinions with the world. This podcast may contain language, opinions, and ideas some people may find offensive and or controversial. Listener discretion is advised. Broadcasting from the land of 10,000 lakes, this is Red Herring Radio. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone. I am Rick the Ninja, joined in studio by Wally Danger Walberg and your host, B-Dizzle. The Rhetoric decided not to join us in studio this early Saturday morning because he said, fuck waking up early, but he did send along this message for you.
Merry Xmas, everyone!
All right, thank you very much, Ninja. Merry Christmas, everyone, and thanks for joining us again here on Red Herring Radio. It's that time of year again, you know, my, I wouldn't say favorite time of year. It's kind of stressful. Let's be honest here. It's kind of stressful for everyone.
Yeah.
Because you gotta buy shit. I mean, you don't gotta.
But there's the pressure to.
Well, definitely the pressure too. Well, it's not really pressure. Well, kind of pressure, I guess. But you
even if it's pressure you put on yourself because you feel like you
that's a good way to put it. Because I enjoy giving gifts. It brings me great joy to bring gifts.
You enjoy the pressure.
Well, I think we all feel fortunate that we have people that we
Let's take
enjoy
a step
in
back.
our life.
Hold on a second. I don't like the implication of what you just said.
Well, I take it back. I didn't really mean it. Like, what are you? Why are you offended? What are you offended about?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just didn't like the implication.
The implication?
All right. Before we get into everything, I'm just going to say hi to everyone like I normally do. Danger. How's it going, bud?
It's Saturday. What are we doing here on a Saturday, man? What happened last night? Yeah, we brainstormed some ideas last night, a lot for the finale, so I'm really pumped about that. But today's show should be really good. Should be cool. I mean, other than that, besides it being Saturday, it's the usual.
Thank you very much. Ninja, how you doing this holiday season?
Oh, super. You know, I love the holidays.
You sound so thrilled.
Yeah, I'm a fucking Grinch, bah humbug.
I thought you looked extra green. I thought you were like your diet changed, man, but that's just what the holiday season does to you. I didn't realize.
No, I worked retail for too long, and sorry, the urge to decorate and to do the flair on Christmas has just been drained from me. I mean, I like the excuse to spend time with my friends and family and do nice things for each other, but I no longer decorate a Christmas tree or like people get gifts that are just in bags of tissue. I don't do a whole lot of fancy shit for Christmas anymore.
Right. So let's move along here. Ninja, what do we got up on the plate tonight?
So tonight we'll be talking a little philosophy with our pal Danger, continue our coverage of the Rosetta Probe. We got a few current events, and then we'll be inviting our audience into a little discussion we're calling Ninja's Rhetoric. And then on the second half of the show, we'll be going into the history of Christmas and a few of its key characters, like the Christmas devil, the Krampus. All this tonight, wrapped in a bow, on Red Herring Radio.
Oh, wonderful.
10 out of 10 there, man.
That was good. All right, so to start things off here, we're going to be checking out some of our ongoing coverage of the Rosetta Probe. A couple weeks ago, we started covering this story, so we felt it would be a good idea to just keep on going because they keep discovering new things. On episode 7, we had a sound bit or sound clip that was apparently a sound this comet was making.
It was like a space cricket.
Yeah, that was the episode 7, the space cricket.
Yep. So then the next thing we talked about was how there was possible organic molecules
Right.
that they found.
And then last episode, we spoke about how the Philae probe from the Rosetta Probe that landed on it discovered organic molecules.
Whoa.
And this week, what do we got, Danger?
That's right. Science Magazine is reporting the water on Rosetta Comet is different than the water here on Earth.
Different?
Yep, here's how. Sometimes the atoms that make up H2O can actually be deuterium, which is hydrogen with an extra neutron. This makes the water slightly heavier, and so what they do is they take samples of the water and they compare the ratio of H2O molecules that have this deuterium and that do not. So like here on Earth, we have a particular ratio of these heavier water molecules compared to the not heavy ones. On this comet, there's 3 times more of the deuterium H2O molecules compared to the regular H2O ones, which means that the water here on Earth did not come from comets like the one that's being investigated now.
Interesting.
No.
So is it really still, I'm sorry, Ninja, but is it really still water then? I mean,
yes. I mean, the neutron is a neutral particle, right? And
Right.
it's just like tacked on with that hydrogen molecule, and it still functions as water. I don't know my like basic chemistry well enough to
Right.
really defend that or talk about it, but I mean, it makes sense to me. I think it's like a form of water at the very least, yeah.
Right.
And it acts like water in a lot of ways, I'm sure.
Okay.
Now, I guess what I would like to, point out there is this could still mean that water from Earth could have been brought to Earth by comets. We can't say that all comets have water with composition like the one of the, potentially bajillions of comets out there that have possibly passed in our space. We've checked out one so far, so one sample doth not a scientific statement make.
We know at the very least that the water on Earth probably didn't come from comets where this comet came from, which is, I believe, like the Jupiter region, and there's other places. I really should have the article up. This is fucking with me.
All right, up next here, we're going to be discussing a story that I came across that I just found was interesting, and it kind of confused me because I just don't understand people like this, so that's why I kind of thought it was interesting. A guy punched a hole in a painting.
That's right. Red Herring Radio is disappointed to report that a man in Ireland has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for punching a hole in a Claude Monet painting. While the painting was repaired, you still got to ask yourself, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't see why I just don't understand why somebody would willingly be that way, that malicious to just wantingly destroy art.
According to this guy, his initial statement was that he did it to get back at the state, but you're like depriving, history in the world of a creation of an artist who's now cannot be replaced, or you've permanently damaged, to get back at no one, because what are you going to do? You can't hurt the state by destroying a piece of art. What the hell was going through that guy's mind?
I mean, there are plenty of whack jobs in this world that have done worse than punch a painting.
Yeah.
As an artist myself, it would infuriate me to no end for somebody to just destroy something I created without a
damn good reason.
Yeah, without a justifiable reason.
Monet is rolling in his grave right now, I guess.
Exactly. I just don't get it.
It doesn't make sense.
It's an enigma to me.
I do have a story about Monet that I wanted to share. I was lucky enough when I was, I think, 12 or 13 to be visiting my aunt in Chicago, and we got to visit a Monet exhibit that was in town there. And what was really cool to me about seeing all these different paintings, there's 2 different things that stuck out to me. One was that he did a painting. He does like art scenes and like kind of like landscapes or like pictures of ponds and stuff. And this one I remember, it was the same painting that he did early on in his life of a particular area, and then he did it again later on. And apparently I think he had vision problems in his life where like cataracts developed. So the difference between the 2 paintings is actually pretty impressive and interesting because it's like more blurry, but you can still tell it's the same place. And so the other thing that was cool about the Monet exhibit that I liked was that when you look at these things from afar, it totally looks like a depiction of nature and is really cool. But then when you actually walked up closer to them, you could see that it was made with a brush, like when you zoom in and look close at a painting and see that, wow, that's brush strokes. It's really fascinating.
I was at the National History Museum of Art in Washington, D.C. when my sister got married like 15, 20 years ago. But, yeah, you go real close to a painting. It's not like digital art. If you're close enough to see it, I mean, you can only see the hairbrush.
No pixels. I was like, what is this?
So in our final story here, we turn to a video on YouTube here, and it comes from the city of Lowell in Massachusetts.
That's right. It's a pretty interesting video where the police, or one officer in particular, has arranged a team of people that he's working with where he pulls people over for minor traffic violations like headlights being out, or I don't really know what else. That's one of the only specific things they say in the video. And while he's got them pulled over, he's like, hey, so happy holidays. What do your kids want for Christmas? In a subtle sort of way. And then he's like got a walkie-talkie and he radios it into some people that are at what looks like Target or something. And they get exactly what these people say. And they come running up and he's like, oh, is this the TV that you wanted for your bedroom? And they're like, no way, it totally is. And he's like, well, Merry Christmas. And he's giving presents for the kids a lot too. And it seems like a nice thing. But at the same time, there's something...
it's a feel-good story. That's the only reason I threw it in there, because it is a nice Christmas thing. I mean, and that's it.
Yeah, that does sound like a nice thing that officer is doing with those people that he is associating with. I'm kind of curious. Is he just handing out, like, fix-it tickets? Like, get your headlight fixed. Merry Christmas.
He, like, some of the people in the video, they're like, am I getting a ticket? And he's like, do you want one? And they're like, ha ha ha. So it seems like they're not getting tickets.
No, I don't think they're getting tickets. Yeah, so check out the video. We'll have it linked in the description below. Like I said, it's a nice feel-good thing for Christmas, and that's about it.
Not to get too controversial here, but this is a little bit of positivity for the police in a controversial time for such things.
Absolutely. They've been having bad press as of late, but it's...
You got to wonder if this is some counter press to the opposite direction. I mean, I'm just throwing that out
yeah,
there.
They're not just out there doing it to be nice people. I mean,
is this
as much as I would hope that would be the case, they're not just... That cop and the city of Lowell are not buying these things for people just to be nice. There is always an ulterior motive. It's not like the city of Lowell or this police officer are personal friends with any of these people. They don't have... And I really doubt that the controlling, body of, the city council of Lowell or whoever organized this event, I doubt all of them are such good people that they're like, let's just do this to spread Christmas joy. There's an ulterior motive, but it still is a good thing to bring that joy to those people, to the individuals. Their joy, no matter what the intentions were, is still, I'm sure, legitimate, and it's still a good thing.
The video states that its intention is to promote relationships between the police and the general citizens, and that...
Well, right, because of things that have happened in this country as of late, and I think that's smart of them, but I don't think they should be so naive to think that this will just smooth everything over, and that all of a sudden people will just start trusting police officers. Like, I don't know.
I think
it's still nice, and I wanted to include it. That's why I did.
Just really quickly, I do think that in like an ideal society, if we were to try to imagine what that might look like, the relationship between the law enforcement officials and the general citizenship is a positive one. And I think that something like this is a step perhaps in that direction if it's done with honest intentions. And so in that sense, I would support this, and I think it's cool.
Yeah.
When I was speaking earlier about how there's always an ulterior motive, it doesn't mean I don't want there to be good intentions, but I'm just a realist in the sense that... Suspicious. And
rightfully so, given like our present circumstances and where people we've seen in the past and all that.
Right. But anyway, so we digress. This is a good feel-good story if you want to get a little good Christmas cheer in your belly there. Give it a...
I mean, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, I was going to say, why was that an evil laugh?
Yeah, that was...
ho, 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 ho. I'm just used to the evil laugh, but I meant ho, 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 ho. All right?
All right.
All right. All right.
What do we got up next here?
Ninja's Rhetoric.
All right, so up next here, we're going to be debuting our newest segment, Ninja's Rhetoric.
Alright, so in my little part of the show, I'm hoping to pose a question to our listeners and encourage a little bit of audience participation in discussion. So, this is a little bit of a complex question that requires me to establish a little bit of a premise. So the center belief of Christianity really is that Jesus Christ was the Son of God and that he died on the cross so that our sins could be forgiven. That's really the core belief. And if you believe that, that's kind of what makes you a Christian. Now, there are variations on the tenets and stuff, the different branches of Christianity, but that's kind of at the core of all of it. My kind of question here is, as an agnostic myself, is what if you historically believe that Jesus Christ was a real person and did in fact live, and that he was in fact crucified, and that man believed he was the Son of God. He might have been delusional and crazy and believed he was doing this as a self-sacrifice and it was saving all of our souls. You believed that this person really thought this. And you could think, well, gee, even though that person was crazy, that sure is a noble thing he did. That inspires me to be a better person, even though I don't believe the God part and the religion bit of it, that surely was noble, and I will live my life as a better person, because if people can be that noble, then I should strive to be it. So, if that is your take on this, does that make you a Christian? How do you think God views you? Do you think he thinks you got it, the most important parts of it right? Or do you think you're going to hell? Wally, what do you think about this dangerous question?
Yeah, we're kind of taking the religion bull by the horns in this episode a little bit. It's a topic we haven't touched so much, and I'm going to save what I think until we hear back from the listeners a little bit, and just kind of leave it, because we'll talk about what they might have to say.
Oh, that's super cautious of you, Danger.
No, I mean...
Well, I think it's a very interesting question, if I can interject. It brings up a lot of other interesting questions in my mind, but like Danger, I would rather wait until we hear what some of the listeners have to say so we can more engage them into the conversation.
So to recap, listeners, if you think that Jesus historically was a real person who was in fact crucified, and he believed he was dying so that you could be forgiven, but you thought that he was a crazy man who thought he was the Son of God, even though he did this sacrifice and that seems noble to you, how do you think that God views you? Does that make you a Christian, even unwillingly? Who knows? That's my question to you.
All right, now is the time in the show where we are going to engage our minds and open our third eyes and all that good stuff when we talk to Dangerous with a... Fucking A. I had to go there for a second. All right, now's the time in the show when we open our minds for a little Dangerous philosophy. Dangerous.
This week on Dangerous Philosophy, we're going to be doing a little thought experiment. In order to get this started, we'll be telling you a tale about a ship known as the Spirit of Athens.
Our story starts in a harbor in ancient Greece.
Harbor Master,
Yes?
I am the captain of the ship, the Pride of Sparta. I require your services for a barnacle scraping.
Indeed you do, sir. 50 gold pieces. Park in Dock A.
Here is your money.
Later on that day. Dock hand?
Yes, sir.
The Pride of Sparta in Dock A needs to be moved to Dock B. The tides are out, so you're not going to be able to sail it there.
But sir, the crane is broken.
Indeed it is. You'll have to disassemble the ship and reassemble it one plank at a time.
But there must be 1,000 planks in that ship, sir.
1,000 there are, and you'll move them each before sundown if you want to make your silver.
Ah, very well. Ben, he wants us to move that ship.
And so it came to pass. Later that day, the Pride of Sparta sailed away from the harbor. The very next day, another captain came to the harbor.
Harbor Master,
Yes?
I am the captain of the Maid of Thebes. My ship is made of oak planks, and many of them are damaged and worn. I would like you to replace all of the damaged and worn oak planks with new teak planks.
Right away, sir. This will be 500 gold pieces.
Here is your money.
Thank you.
And so this too came to pass. Later that day, the Maid of Thebes sailed from the harbor. The very next day, yet another captain sailed to the harbor.
Harbor Master,
Yes?
I am the captain of the ship the Spirit of Athens. We met the Maid of Thebes on the ocean, and I enjoyed the look of the new teak planks his captain said you put there. While my ship is quite seaworthy, I would like you to replace all of the oak planks on my ship with new teak planks as well.
This will be done, sir. 1,000 gold pieces, please.
Here is your money.
Dockhand!
Yes, sir.
The owner of the Spirit of Athens has left his ship with us to have his oak planks replaced with teak planks.
But his oak planks look completely seaworthy, sir.
You're right, they do. That gives me an idea. We will replace the planks on his ship with teak planks one at a time. As you remove each plank, we'll reassemble the ship in the second dock. When it's all said and done,
We'll have a ship of our own.
And so it came to pass. The owner of the Spirit of Athens came to the harbor, was satisfied with the work, and sailed away.
Well, sir, 'tis a glorious ship. Poseidon himself has blessed her. What shall we name her?
Name her? She already has a name.
So there it is, you guys. Which ship is the Spirit of Athens? Is it ship 1, which has sailed out of the harbor, or is it ship 2, which is still in the harbor, owned by the shipwright? There's an argument for ship 1, saying that it's pretty much the same as in our second story, where the Maid of Thebes came and was renovated. Okay, so the guy who sailed away with the ship, he had his ship replaced one at a time. There was a complex process that happened there, but it was always the Spirit of Athens that was exactly right there in that spot. Even though a series of things happened to it, just like in story 2, how the Maid of Thebes remained the Maid of Thebes, the Spirit of Athens remained the Spirit of Athens the whole time it was in Dock 1, even when the 501st plank was replaced. The whole time it was that. So there's that side of it. Ship 2, the case that you can make for that, is that it's just like in story 1 with the Pride of Sparta. The ship has simply been moved from one dock to the other. Think about it as a complex process by which the planks were moved. It's exactly the same as if a crane had moved it. If a crane lifted up the ship and moved it from one dock into the next, it seems like it would be a pretty clear case that we would say the Spirit of Athens moved from one spot to the next. Well, quite simply, that's exactly what happened here, is that it was moved from one to the next. So, what do you guys think? Where's the Spirit of Athens?
I've been waiting to chime in on this one. One of my favorite things about the way language works is how we love to give defined meaning to arbitrary things, and really, titles and names are arbitrary. In one example, we have a collection of wood that we have decided to give the title, the Spirit of Athens. Does that particular pile of wood have anything that makes it the title Spirit of Athens, other than the fact that we have decided to name that collection of wood assembled the way it is the Spirit of Athens? So really that's what it comes down to, is that in one instance you have decided to name this collection of wood and planks and nails the Spirit of Athens, and the captain is happy with calling his collection of wood the Spirit of Athens. And then in the second case, even though the collection of wood is now a little bit different, the captain is still happy with calling his collection of wood the Spirit of Athens.
Well,
So to him, he still has the Spirit of Athens, arbitrary naming, regardless of whether or not the dockhand also wants to call his collection of wood the Spirit of Athens.
Well, that's a good point. Where my brain goes with this, so what is the Spirit of Athens really? Is the Spirit of Athens a idea, or is it a collection of wood and nails and stuff like you were saying?
It's a little bit of both. I say the captain has an idea that the Spirit of Athens is his. It's his collection of wood that's assembled in this. And he, being the person who's decided to give, it's, in his mind, that belongs to him. The title is his to give. Right.
The way I think about it is the initial captain who brought his ship to the shipyard, any ship he owns or sails could be the ship of Athens or the Spirit of Athens, excuse me. So in that regard, it could be, strictly an idea. So it depends on how you look at it, really.
Yeah, it seems like it could be that both ships are the Spirit of Athens if you choose to name them Spirit of Athens.
Right. It all depends on what that means.
But is
to
there
you.
one? Is there like a true, like, this is the one that is actually the Spirit of Athens?
If you look, to me anyway, if you look at it from a strictly physical standpoint, the first ship that was pulled into the shipyard was named the Spirit of Athens. It was taken apart piece by piece and replaced with new pieces and reassembled in a new dock. So to me, realistically, that is the same ship right there. You've just moved it over like the first ship. That's all they did. They took it apart piece by piece and reassembled it. So if I was going to say which one is the Spirit of Athens, I would say if you're associating Spirit of Athens with a strictly physical thing, then the first ship, the one that was totally taken apart and replaced with all the new boards, would be the Spirit of Athens. But if the Spirit of Athens is more of a idea, not just a physical thing, then either of them or both of them could be.
Now here's the question. Then if, let's say, the dockhand didn't want to shadily recreate his own ship, let's say they just took apart all the pieces and they just kept all those pieces of ship around, and then the next time ships came in for repairs, they simply reused those. Now at what point does the ship of Athens exist in hundreds of other ships or dozens of other ships? Do those ships, are they a little bit the Spirit of Athens? Like I said, so. The names are just arbitrary titles that we've named a thing. So the name the Spirit of Athens really means the most to the captain. It's his ship. He's like it's the idea behind the ship is what's important to him, not the collection of wood that it actually is.
Which is more in favor of the ship that sailed away as being the Spirit of Athens.
I guess that's it.
So, let us know, what do you think about the Spirit of Athens? Which ship is it? Hit us up on our YouTube comments. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Rocky McDouche. This holiday season, give the gift that lasts a lifetime. Name a star after somebody. That's right, for just $19.95, you can name a star with the International Ozark Mountain Star Registry. This incredibly personalized gift will shine brightly for seasons to come. And act now, supplies are limited. I mean, there's only like 1 billion stars out there, 7 billion people, you do the math. So call us right away to have your star name registered today. Hell, for $24.95, I'll write down anything you want. And remember, the first 500 callers get a free 20-gallon jug of city water. Call now!
Warning. The opinions shared on this show are those of free-thinking individuals who, without payment or coercion, chose to be here and share those opinions with the world. This podcast may contain language, opinions, and ideas some people may find offensive and or controversial. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the break, everyone. This is Rick the Ninja here for Red Herring Radio. On the second half of the show, we'll be talking about the history of Christmas. What do you got for us, Dizzle?
All right. Well, everyone knows what Christmas is, but I think a lesser portion of the population realizes the true origins of the holiday.
Oh, and how complex those origins are. It can't be traced back to one single thing.
Right.
But
It's an amalgamation of many different belief structures and traditions.
And cultures.
And cultures,
countries.
Yep. But one of the main origins behind Christmas and the gift giving and such is the ancient festival of Saturnalia.
Whoa, what is that?
It was a Roman festival in honor of the deity Saturn, of course. You can probably assume that from the name Saturnalia.
Yeah.
So the holiday was celebrated with sacrifices at the temple of Saturn, and there was gambling permitted during this time, which is
normally illegal.
Yeah, and frowned upon.
Also dangerous.
And they would give gifts. And it was a festival because Saturn was the agricultural deity. So they were just, celebrating the rejuvenation and stuff like that.
The passing of the seasons, the harvesting of crops,
right?
And the ability of life to continue through another year.
Correct. And the modern day Christian interpretation of Christmas is to celebrate the birth of Christ, when most modern day scholars will tell you that Christ was probably not born around that time. It was shifted to offset the pagan rituals that were centered around that time of the year, is a theory that is...
Can I just throw out there, when I was a kid, it was like Jesus was born on Christmas and he died on Easter. I'm like, this dude was 6 months old. What's going on here?
Right.
But that was not it. Apparently, he lived for about like 35-ish years.
I also find it
30-ish years, yeah.
Really convenient, like the way they all lined up. This is something that I noticed when I was younger, that he happened to be born on the winter solstice and he died on the equinox.
Yeah, these astronomical things being associated with holidays is a tradition that you'll notice throughout like the different holidays and stuff. It's been a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the regardless of culture, humans and our cultures have been aware of the passing of the seasons, and a lot of our celebrations and holidays mark those eventful periods of that cycle.
Well, many of the traditions associated here with Saturnalia came into the Christian realm, so to speak, when the Roman Empire came under Christianity, and then the influences from Saturnalia, became the Christmas-esque, traditions.
Yeah, and I like from one of the articles that we'll have linked up here on the website. They've done research, and it says that the ancient Christians didn't necessarily adopt these traditions to try to help conversion of new people into Christianity, but these ancient Christians recognized their own pagan roots, and they felt that these traditions, although not necessarily true or that they needed to be celebrated as truth anymore, were still important historical traditions that should be, respected among cultures. So they were adopted as a sign of respect as well.
Well, on realtruth.org here, we have an article that talks a little bit about an event that happened in 1990 at a school in Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland, in a school there. The school board banned all nativity and other Christmas scenes on any school property because they felt it violated the separation of church and state.
I'll bet that pissed some parents off.
Oh, almost certainly it did. They were challenged in court when outraged parents opposed them, feeling that Christmas was being stolen from their children and the community. The board lost the case. The citizenry had contended that Christmas was a worldwide tradition that was not part of and transcended religion. It was deemed to be secular, a part of virtually all cultures worldwide. And
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, B-Dizzle. I agree with that interpretation to say that Christmas has transcended religion, because there are a lot of people who are not Christians who end up celebrating Christmas, agnostics and atheists among them. So with that established, should we talk about some of the different figures that have been associated with Christmas?
Absolutely. And the first one, obviously, being, I would say, the most famous, Santa Claus. Everybody knows Santa Claus, right? Well, I would say most people probably do.
Yeah, and that comes from a German pronunciation of a different saint, right?
Right, Saint Nicholas, which is the origin of Santa Claus, or as Ninja put it.
Oh yeah, Santa Claus is a characterization of Saint Nicholas as as the holiday and traditions have just kind of come to represent him.
So let's talk about the St. Nicholas guy. What's that story with the dowries that he's so famous for?
Well, the St. Nicholas is I forget his exact title of patron saint, but there were some girls that their families were too poor to afford a decent dowry for them to get good husbands.
And they were way ugly, right? Bridge trolls.
I don't remember the moral of the story having anything to do with the girls' appearances. In fact, I think in modern society, like we might just want to ignore that part.
You gotta pay the troll toll to get in.
But so St. Nicholas, feeling sorry for their poor families and these girls, snuck into their house at night and placed gold bars into their shoes so that they could use this money as dowry and have good husbands. And therefore,
he's talking to the bachelors. He's like, okay, I got 6 bars of gold, that horse, and 2 donkeys if you marry this chick right here. And they're like, oh man, I'll fall on that grenade.
Well, I think it's important to point out that St. Nicholas and Santa Claus are 2 different entities. These are 2 different things. While Santa Claus being derived from St. Nicholas, it is now a separate thing. There are countries in Europe that don't allow an image or a statue or anything of Santa Claus to be displayed in public, or they, frown upon it until the date of St. Nicholas Day,
which is early on in December, before December 25th, which is the tradition of leaving shoes out, right?
Well, people would leave their shoes out for St. Nicholas to...
Which is where our stocking tradition has evolved from.
So true and fully classic.
I've also heard that the stocking tradition arose from early in history. People would leave stockings full of carrots.
To feed Odin and his sky horse that ate carrots.
Sleipnir.
To feed the horse of Odin, yes.
Sleipnir.
So
the eight-legged horse.
The horse would take the carrots and be fed, and Odin would leave candy in exchange. So I guess we have 2 different kind of things going there.
Possibly blended together. I might have misspoken on that one.
But they seem like they both could be legitimate. So.
Both stories true, both fully classic.
Fully classic. All right. So then the image that most Americans these days have of Santa Claus was really popularized and cemented in the psyche of Americans by a Coca-Cola ad that started in the 1930s.
Sweet Coca-Cola, responsible for Santa and polar bears.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
They made polar bears?
Okay, Santa was portrayed by dozens of artists in a wide variety of styles, sizes, and colors. However, by the end of the 1920s, a standard American Santa, life-sized in a red fur-trimmed suit, had emerged from the work of N.C. Wyeth. So we're on stnicholascenter.org here.
.org, so you know it's legit.
And we're down the page here quite a bit, but we're looking at the Coca-Cola ads that were created. And in 1931 was the very first Coca-Cola ad featuring what we would, today, most people would consider the image of Santa Claus.
Yep.
So, while we're talking about Santa Claus, I can think of a couple different interesting Santa Clauses from my memory and my childhood. And not even childhood, but just even my adulthood. I think of the robot Santa from Futurama.
Hilarious.
They don't celebrate Christmas on Futurama. They celebrate Xmas. And Santa Claus is a robot, and he wants to kill everyone. So it's
everyone who he deems as naughty, except his standards are ridiculously high, so everyone is naughty.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody is naughty. And then I think back when I was a child, one of the movies I remember featuring Santa Claus is actually called Santa Claus. It's the movie Santa Claus.
Yep.
And John Lithgow was in that movie.
Good one.
Dudley Moore. It was a great childhood memory. And
are we going to segue into Christmas movies here?
I don't know. I just want to say that one of my all-time favorite movies is the classic all-time holiday hit from Arnold, Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. That was recorded here in Minnesota.
My favorite has got to be
Who told you could eat my cookies?
Yeah, I was just going to say my favorite has got to be How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I remember watching that one every year with my beloved Horning family. And when the Grinch's heart...
Sorry, did you just say horny family?
No, man. Let's leave that out for editing. But I have a side of my family. There's the Walbergs, the Engelbrettsons, and the Hornings. Actually, we can leave it in. So, did I just say the Horny family? No, I didn't say the Horny family. I said the Horning family. I am blessed to be a part of 3 different families: the Walbergs, the Engelbrettsons, and the Hornings. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I know, right? I got a 3rd family. How many you got? Like 2? Sucker.
Actually, I also have 3 families: a product, divorce, and remarriage.
All right, guys. This is
So
this is a
anyways.
Christmas episode. Let's keep everything jolly.
No, I'm happy
So
for
if we're talking
Rick.
about movies, my favorite movie,
Cindy
Christmas
Lou Who,
movie,
man.
my favorite Christmas movie has got to be A Christmas Story. I wait eagerly every year.
And watch it 17 times
And-
on TBS.
Yeah, and watch it probably at least, well, maybe not 17
I
times.
know,
but,
I'm exaggerating.
But I literally almost leave the TV on the entire time it's on, even if I'm not sitting there watching it. I know it's wasteful in electricity, but
No,
whatever.
it becomes the background noise of the day.
Yeah, It's my fireplace, if you will.
Oh, we get so pumped when the Yule log on TV, they poke it with a stick or add another log. We cheer and like flip out. It's so fun.
So yeah, so the history, going back to Santa Claus here, the history of Santa, started with a patron saint that would give children candy, leave them treats, and it has evolved into a mythical man who lives at the North Pole with elves, and in one night delivers gifts to the world.
While simultaneously judging everyone.
That's right. From the nerdy aspect here, can I just throw out that these are not elves in the Dungeons and Dragons sense of the word elves. These are gnomes, man.
Hey,
these
we
are
don't-
small, short people. These are
that
not
are good at tinkering.
Yeah, they're not the tall, slender elves that Dungeons and Dragons and other such fantasy settings would have us believe.
Are you-
Santa has gnomes, or gnomes, as I like to say.
Are you saying that we need to start a petition to get the public to recognize
Christmas
Santa's
gnomes?
as instead of
They're
Santa's
Christmas
elves?
gnomes. I think I can get behind this because it makes a lot more sense than
Santa
calling
and his
them.
Christmas gnomes.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Upvote if you agree.
Yeah, let's get some steam going behind this. We got to
Christmas
change.
gnomes.
We got to
Because
change
no one likes
this.
the elf on the shelf anyway.
No, it's creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, gnomes are cute. They're supposed to be small and weird looking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then instead of Will Ferrell in the movie Elf, we can have the small person from Austin Powers. I don't
Vern
remember.
Troyer.
Yes, he can make a movie called Gnome.
Gnome.
And it will be awesome.
For some reason, when you said that, it immediately flashed in my head of it being like a horror movie.
Well, it can be that too. I don't care. I just want to see this movie now. So, I just wonder, this is all very happy and jolly. Is there a darker side to it all?
Of course, there is. There's always another side to the coin, if you will. So now we will turn our gazes to the Christmas devil,
Oh, the Krampus.
Krampus.
Yeah, this is the guy that when Santa would inevitably judge more than a few kids naughty, he didn't just leave coal in their stockings. No, there was an appropriate opposite of Santa to punish the children.
And it was usually a stick or rod for beating that disobedient, naughty child ass.
Right. So we're on Wikipedia here, just looking at the Krampus page real quick to get some quick info to you. Krampus is a beast-like creature from the folklore of alpine countries thought to punish children during the Christmas season who have misbehaved. So in contrast to St. Nicholas, who rewards well-behaved ones with gifts, Krampus is the one who punishes the naughty and wicked. So I never heard of Krampus when I was growing up. I never even heard it. I didn't hear of Krampus until a couple years ago on The League, the show The League.
No.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever heard of it.
The first time I had heard of the Krampus was actually on an episode of The Venture Brothers.
Wow.
In which their neighbor, the mysterious Orpheus or something, actually brings about like a real Christmas joke. And at the end of the episode, the Krampus comes out and beats, Professor Venture.
But I actually thought it was a bit confusing that I was never told about the Krampus, or it's not a bigger thing within the mythology of Christmas, because what better way to get your child to behave than say, well, if you're not good, Santa won't bring you any presents, but also this horrible goblin guy is going to come and beat you with a stick.
Yeah, so to answer how that came about is that Santa and the North American expression of it is that if you're naughty, you get coal or like nothing at all as your gift. There's no punishment. When it says that this comes from the folklore of the Alpine countries, that means like the Swiss Alps and the Black Forest there. So we're talking about that area.
Yeah,
of
but
Europe.
a lot of that culture and a lot of those people migrated to North America here.
Absolutely.
I can't figure out why it wouldn't be more part of the mythology behind Christmas.
I think
Too
it's
scary.
because Christmas
Too
has
scary?
gotten far too positive, and we're more into making it more about a happy feel.
Right.
You know.
Well, that
and-
makes sense.
And to be perfectly honest, at this point, our society is a little too against having children beaten with wooden sticks to really glorify
doubt.
the Krampus coming and welting your children's butts up with, willow rods.
So a couple things about that is that in current times, as we've noticed through popular culture references, Krampus is becoming more popular. It was even on American Dad as a TV show that we didn't even mention yet.
Right, yep.
And so you could argue that the commercialization of Krampus is happening and it is becoming a more popular thing in the present day. Another thing that I think is cool about this tradition or interesting is that just like you'll get people to dress up like Santa and, have different actings with that, there are people who will dress up as Krampus, and there are some awesome pictures online. Imagine how Dave Grohl dressed up as the devil in The Pick of Destiny for Tenacious D. That's what these Krampus dressed up people look like. It's frightening masks with horns, and there's sticks and demonic faces. We will most certainly have pictures up on the video here and on our website. What? We have a website?
Yeah, we do. I've been forgetting to plug that here.
Plug in the website.
Yeah, if you want to check out our website and
Officially.
the
official. I have an email address. It's something like dangerwalberg@redherringradio.com. Hit me up on that.
Yeah, www.redherringradio.com if you want to check that website out. To bring this whole Christmas thing to a wrap, I wanted to just talk a little bit more about our memories of Christmas. And it's hard to say if you had a favorite gift or, maybe not even a favorite, but if you think about your childhood, what was one gift that really stands out to you when you were a kid?
Okay, so I have two stories for this one. The first is a story of belief and buying into the Santa Claus bit as a whole. I was a young man of somewhere between like 8 to 10 years old. I'm not sure how
I think
old.
I believed in Santa till I was like 10.
Yeah, I was somewhere in that age range, and I was up at my grandparents' house in Alexandria. They have a one-story rambler on the lake that's in the shape of an L. The Christmas tree was in one section of the L, and all my aunts and uncles were with us kids, and they were getting us super pumped about how Santa was going to be coming, and we left out the cookies and the milk and everything, and one of my aunts told me, like, oh, Santa's coming, and I think I heard some jingle bells going off on the side, and so they brought us into the one wing of the house where the Christmas tree wasn't, where the cookies weren't, and so, I literally heard bells shaking. It must have been my grandma or something ringing some bells on the side, and one of my aunts was like, oh, I see the red nose of Rudolph in the sky there, and I'm sure it wasn't there, but her saying it made me believe it.
What if it was Santa?
Well, right. What if it was Santa? And so then, by the time we got to the next room, and had looked, well, sure enough, don't you know it? All the Christmas presents were under the tree that Santa had delivered, and I was just like hook, line, and sinker on the Santa Claus.
You marked out.
I marked out. I marked out.
I think that's great though. I think that's really
I love my grandparents and family for going all the way out.
A lot of people don't support the idea of Santa Claus because they feel it's lying and it's all this stuff. But I think up to a certain point, when a child is a child, I think it's okay to encourage those little fantasies. And I really admire adults who will take their time to make that holiday more special for those children in that fashion.
Well, one of the things that I like about things like this is human beings have the ability to imagine a nobler humanity than what is really there. And children, when they're open to the ideas of these stories, we can inspire them with the an ideal of a noble humanity when there's, I guess it sounds terrible, when they're susceptible to the idea of
they're
being...
in a shaping and formative age where you're helping to build a strong moral character.
Yeah, so if you can give them the image of a more noble human race and really instill that in them. Hopefully the idea is that even once they realize the stories are not true, as they will eventually grow out with them, the idea of the nobility of mankind, humankind, it can still be something to aspire to.
Right. Your second story?
Yeah, so this one goes back to a tradition that my parents always had of giving gifts that were mysterious to you as to what they may actually be. So let me tell you what I mean by that. This was a gift from when I was in my early teen years, so somewhere between, like 12 to 14, somewhere in there. I really wanted a snowboard so bad. I wanted to snowboard. And it was Christmas Day, and I had received like a nice sweater and some socks, and I opened another gift, and it was the very last one, and it was a small check box, like what you get blank checks in, and inside of it was a popsicle stick and a cotton ball. And I was supposed to figure out what this was. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, what? And I remember my dad, like, kind of guided me along with it a little bit. He's like, this and this. And I'm like, is it a snowboard? And they're like, yeah. Because they had no idea how to wrap it. They couldn't wrap a little snowboard that they got for me. So, of course, that's how it went down. And I was really happy with that snowboard. It was legit.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That's a pretty cool little story there, Wally.
Thanks. Yeah. Happy to share it. How about you, B-Dizzle? What sticks out in your memory as like a Christmas story?
When I was 5, I got a Teddy Ruxpin.
Amazing. I'm so jealous.
Do go on for people who may not be immediately aware of what that is.
It was like a little mechanized teddy bear, and all it was pretty much was a teddy bear that had a tape player in it, and the tape player, when it was playing, would make the mouth move. So it was, you would put your Teddy Ruxpin tape in the Teddy Ruxpin, and then it'd be like Teddy Ruxpin is reading the story to you. But it was amazing to me. And I also had some, I also got this little, it was like a little plush monster, stuffed monster toy that had little plastic handcuffs that would, you'd put them together, but they were rigged to break.
Yeah.
So it was like this little monster. I'll find some pictures for it, or I'll find some pictures of it and throw it up, but... So some people are going to know what I'm talking about. But yeah, those are the kind of things. But honestly, I can't remember if I got this for Christmas, but part of me feels like I did, so I'm going to bring it up. I had the most amazing model train set when I was a little kid.
Did it make a figure 8 and did the trains wreck?
No.
Crash, gadoosh, right in the middle.
Those are Hot Wheels.
Extreme trains.
I have a really hard time visualizing what it exactly looked like, because this was a long time ago. I remember I loved this thing, and I would get up. At the time we lived in an apartment complex, and my mom had some very good friends that lived like 2 blocks away in a small house, and I would wake up early in the morning before anybody else was awake at my house. I would gather up my train set, and I would carry it over to my mom's friend's house so I could set it up in their basement. And I would just walk in their house, go down their basement, and set up my trains and start playing with it. But it was cool,
Yeah.
Definitely something that I remember from my childhood being amazing. So,
if you're feeling nostalgic about any of your favorite Christmas toys, we want to see what they are. Give us a post of what toys remind you of being a kid that you got that were super fun to play with.
Yeah, right on. And last but not least, I wanted to throw this out at people. If this Christmas Eve you would like to have a little fun with your children, you can visit the website www.noradsanta.org. We will have it linked in the description below. But it is a fun website that the NORAD has made for children to track Santa around the world. And obviously it is for fun, so... I hope everybody has a nice Christmas this year. And
yeah, we here at Red Herring Radio wish all of you to have a happy and loving holiday time. Spend it with the people that you care about, that care about you. Be well.
Enjoy the seasons. Hope everyone has a good time.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks for joining us on Red Herring Radio. And we hope you join us again in 2 weeks. Where
so badass. The finale is going to be crushing it.
It will be our season finale in 2 weeks.
There's going to be glitter everywhere. Just leaves coming back like herpes.
And
wow.
The Natrix should be back with us then too. And yeah, we got some special stuff planned for you for that show, so we really hope you join us again. So for Wally Danger Walberg, the Ninja, I'm your host, B-Dizzle, ho ho ho, from Red Herring Radio.
Oh, so good.